I love movies. Do you know what else I love? Root beer. Join me as we watch some movies, review some movies, while drinking a cold, tasty root beer. This is Movies and Root Beer. So, in case you couldn't tell by the title, or this blanket, the Muppets. Yeah. Hi. You guys ever seen Spider-Man, the newest one? Where there's the baby, like Mayday or something, and she does the thing with her mask, she's like, yeah. That's me today. Animal. This onesie doesn't really fit me that well, so I threw on some stuff over it. This is what I'm wearing today. But today we're doing the Muppets. Oh shoot, I forgot. Hang on. Got it. So today, we're doing the Muppets from 2011.
The new Disney movie, The Muppets, wants you to meet Kermit.
Hello! I'm responsible for keeping the Muppets together, which is more difficult than it looks.
Come on, guys, let's go!
Kermit looks out for everyone in the group, which is good, because this group can get out of control.
Out of control!
Animal,
Out of control! Out of control!
It's no secret. Kermit and I have chemistry. Sheesh.
You can see Kermit and the rest of the gang in The Muppets, now playing in theaters, rated PG.
Ugh. Today I have this Honeycrisp Apple Fire Brewed Craft Soda. No Spreckers. See that? Gonna have a taste of this. There we go. Oh, you can see my co-host isn't here. I'm kind of alone today, but we'll make do with that. Dang, Jimmy. This is pretty good. It's really good. Taste that. It's good, right? It's gourmet stuff. Alright. Let's get to the movie. So much hair on this thing. But I want to keep it on in spirit. At the beginning, we see Walter talk about his childhood, and I just want to point out this movie is very clever and has many funny moments that I see that like don't even stand, like they stand out, yes, but they're not important at all. But I like to mention them because of how funny I think they are. Like in the beginning, we see Walter and Gary take their yearbook photo for like kindergarten, I think, and there's a girl standing next to Walter, and so obviously, you know, it's a Muppet, so you're not usually standing by a Muppet, so she's like, that, like, who's this guy? Do you know what I mean? So I like to point that out because of how funny it is. Okay. This is really good. So we see how, like, you know, he's a Muppet. Well, he's not established as a Muppet, but, you know, he's different. We see his delusions where he thinks he's a twin. It's not. So then they say this, like, after, like, there's a big reference. I know that. Like, he's standing in front of a mirror because how short he was. And he's like, yeah, I'd like to be big one day. So then they go home and they say, do you want to rent a video telling you how old they are? And then Walter says, yeah, race you home. Race you home? If I'm running down a street, I'm done. I'm tapped out. Several streets though, race you home? I couldn't do that. I'm not running down multiple streets. You will not catch me doing that. I'll be outwinded probably within 10 steps. So we see that, you know, Walter grows up with the Muppets, sort of. That's his childhood. And then he has this dream, right? Dream. Where the Muppets come out of his TV screen. First it was Animal. and then the rest of them have to like get him back for the show. They're like, hey, Walter, come with. So then Walter tries to jump through the screen, but he can't because he's in the real world, right? So then he's like, and then he wakes up in his dream, from his dream, my bad. And then we see that him and Gary are still living together. Good for them, but you know, at least they're not with their parents. They're on their own. But they live together. They're in the same bedroom. One half is Walter's, right? And it's Muppet decor all over the wall, right? And then there's Gary's room, right? He's got like a plane pattern on there. What's that about? He's got like college banners and stuff and all that. What do they do? You know? I don't know what they do. Hair flip. But yeah, they don't do anything. Or at least maybe they do. They just never told us. Except because they live in something called Small Town. That should tell you enough. The population is 102. Yeah, pretty small. And everyone seems to have a job. What do these two do? Even Mary, who's, you know, Gary's girlfriend at the time. But yeah, they don't do anything. We don't know what they do. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, excuse me. I think Gary is like, what if he's pilot? You know, he's got the plane decor. You're that, or he just really likes planes. Do with that what you will. We're then told that Gary and Mary, have been dating for 10 years. 10 years. And then they're going to LA because he wants to propose. But, actually no. It was celebrating an anniversary, a 10-year anniversary. It wasn't even to propose. Mary thinks he should propose, as should we all. It's been 10 years. But actually I want to search up Jason Segel's age. Because that's who plays Gary. Segel. Age. Alright, he's 45 as of now. He was born in 80, meaning he was like 31 when this movie came out. Amy Adams. Age. She's born she's older. She's born 74. So she was almost 40. I don't think that's the character's age, but I'm just going off of that. But she's almost 40. Right? Meaning, if this was a 10-year relationship and they started in like high school, then that seems okay. But they're both past adulthood and then go on a 10-year relationship and haven't gotten married yet. What are we doing? You know? Just get married. Get married, you know? But yeah, Gary plans this trip for their 10-year anniversary. Not even to propose. At least I don't think so. He never told us or anything. It was just for like a fancy dinner for 10 years. Tells you a lot about Gary. Alright. But yeah, I think Gary is like probably, I hope he's a pilot. That would seem reasonable for a 10-year relationship because you're always off doing something, you know? I don't know. Alright. Now in the song. Life's a Happy Song? Yeah, Life's a Happy Song. It's like one of the first songs. Actually, the first. Whatever. In that song, they dress up in like these blue suits with a brown tie and like their shoes. I thought that was a bit and like no one actually owned the suit. But then, get this, recently, in January, like the beginning, my high school, the drama club, we go on this trip called Theater Fest, right? And it's where you go to a college typically, and you get to see a bunch of shows, you do a bunch of workshops, and then there's this big show that like the top actors from each school audition for, and if they make it, they perform it. This year was the prom, but there's this like sponsor guy or host or whatever wore this suit or something similar. And I say similar because when I saw it, I'm like, that's the suit from the Muppets. I didn't think anyone actually owned that. Here's I'll show a picture, hopefully, if I find the picture, and hopefully it actually looks like it and I'm not delusional. But yeah, he wore the blue suit. I'm like, that's the suit from the Muppets. No one got the joke I was making, so that made me look stupid. But yeah, I saw that suit. I'm like, huh, Muppets. I would need someone who has a lot of free time. Actually, maybe not tons of free time. You could probably do this in less than an hour. But go through the song, and can you count the individual 102 individuals? And that's including the school children in the classroom. And I'll do you a favor. You have to count 98, because it's Walter, Mary, Gary, Mickey Rooney, and 98 others. So you got to count 98 people. If you want to include the bus driver, go ahead, but I doubt he's part of that population. Can you imagine that? 102 in your town. What? Oh my god. Speaking of their education system, Gary is singing his song, right? And then he enters the classroom singing. And the kids look at him weird. And he's like, sorry, it's just singing. Mary, the teacher, his girlfriend, is fixing a car in a classroom. How do you get a car in a classroom? Why are you teaching automotives in a regular classroom? Now I get they teach that. In high school, these kids are like 7. I forgot the lesson. I just remember there was a kid named Carlos in the driver's seat. How responsible. And then Amy Adams is just under the car, Mary, under the car, fixing something. And then they can't even see what she's doing. She just has it written on the chalkboard. What kind of... Also, they go on like spring break or something, which is why they're going on their trip, because Mary is free for a week. They go on spring break. You know what the kids say? No, spring break. What? Then Mary says, don't worry, we'll be back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks for spring break? What? I only get a week. And the kids cheer after like, oh yeah, we get to come back. What? Kids are crazy. At least in this movie. But then Mary expresses how Gary is always with Walter, meaning Walter is always with her. Because it's even in her song, she's like, it's never me and him, it's always me and him and him. You know what that reminds me of? Ted. Ted came out after the Muppets. Sounds a little familiar. I'm hinting that Ted might have stolen something from the Muppets. You know, the guy won't, move on because of his weird best friend. Moving on. Once Walter is invited on this vacation, because it was originally Gary and Mary for their 10-year anniversary, but then Walter got like a surprise invite because to visit the Muppets. Walter kind of sucks on vacation. You know what I mean? Because he goes and forgets that's all about, their anniversary. Makes it all about him with the Muppets and stuff. And it's kind of hard to forget that Walter is Gary's age, meaning he's like 30 something. Walter is Gary, yeah. In my mind, whenever I see the movie, I'm like, oh, he's a kid, like 15 or something. No, he's like 30. It's just because of how short he is, I guess. But yeah, it's just a little hard to comprehend that, like, he's 30. Alright. Now, we're introduced, what they get on the Muppet tour. They try and knock that out of the way first, so that, Walter did his thing, so then Gary and Mary could do their thing. Right? Boy, does that take a turn. But Walter sneaks off from the tour to visit Kermit's studio, which then Waldorf and Statler barge in, so then Walter hides. And it's because they're introducing our villain, Tex Richmond, who is planning to drill down, or tear down the Muppet Studios to drill for oil, right? But we don't know that yet. We wait till Statler and Waldorf leave, and then Walter's in hiding and listening. And then I remember Tex Richmond says he remembers them since he was a kid. Chris Cooper, who plays Tex Richmond, was 30 when the Muppet Show came. The Muppet Show. Now the Muppets have made appearances like since the 50s, meaning he would have actually been a boy, but like I don't know if that counts here. But that happens a lot. Everyone's like, I remember you guys when we were kids. How old are the Muppets? Like, I get the characters have been around for like 80 years now, almost. But like, how old are they? You know, portrayed. Do they change age? Because like, I know in Despicable Me, like in that universe, those three girls are the same age in all three films. I remember them saying like they won't change that if they keep going. Like they're always going to remain the same age. Is that the same with the Muppets? Like, is Kermit always... Reasonable age for Kermit would probably be early 40s. Like as an immortal age. Like he's always 42. I think that'd be an age for Kermit. Fozzie's probably a little older. Like 46, 47. I'd say Gonzo a little bit younger, like 39, 40. Piggy is obviously the same age as Kermit. Maybe a year or two older or younger. You know what I mean? And it's just my weird way of thinking, probably. So then Walter finds out and he's like, they're gonna do an evil plan, and then runs away. So then, you know, Gary and Mary capture, like, bring him back to the motel, and he's still screaming about it for like hours upon hours. And then Walter finally reveals, you know, what this Tex Richmond guy's up to. And then they're like, we have to find Kermit. And they're like, how the heck are we supposed to find Kermit? You know what I mean? How are we supposed to find Kermit? Then Walter sees hot pinks. Hot pinks? Pink's hot dogs. That's what it is. Which is pretty good. I've been there in LA. It's so good. Hot dogs. But there's a sign that says like maps or something. And it's like, oh, I got an idea. But they actually go to get the hot dogs instead of maps. That's me in any situation. Oh, we need a plan. I got an idea. Food. That'd be me. I am Walter. Walter's me. So then they find Kermit. Right? They find his house, actually, because it has his face on the gate along with Piggy's. And then Walter looks at it and is like, yeah, I can make that. Gary, throw me over. So then Gary throws him into an electric fence. So Walter gets electrocuted and then blames on Gary. He's like, what kind of throw is that? And then Kermit pops up and then Walter's just like, oh my god, and then passes out. That'd be me if I saw Kermit. So then they wake up, or Walter wakes up in his house, passes out again, and we're introduced to Kermit. And then they're like, okay, who's gonna tell? So then they tell him. And they're like, evil oil baron. Then Kermit is like, the only way to, do that would be to put on a show, as he states. To raise the $10 million they need. I forgot to mention that. They have to raise $10 million or else evil oil baron gets the property. So then Kermit is like, $10 million? Put on a show? Then he sings a song. Pictures in My Head, I believe it's called. And he walks around looking at all the pictures, reminiscing. And then they come to life in his head. And I was like, can you imagine walking in on Kermit while he's, reminiscing? They Walter, Mary, and Gary peek in, and then Kermit's like, and then there's nothing happening around him. Do you imagine how crazy he would look? I just like to point that out. It'd be funny. Okay, so then Kermit agrees. And it's like, Walter's like, how do we get them all? And then Kermit's like, haven't you seen our first movie? We Drive. That's the only line I got when I was like 3 when I saw this for the first time. Maybe that's 4. I think that's 4. So he says, we drive. And I knew that one when I was like 4 because I saw the original one. The original movie. That's probably one of the only references or jokes I got as a kid. And as I got older, I would understand more and more, which is the beauty of this movie specifically. Especially with like celebrities. Because I was introduced to a lot of celebrities through this movie that I didn't even know. Like Whoopi Goldberg, she makes an appearance. Rico Rodriguez. I knew Selena Gomez beforehand because my sister, she knew her. So when I was 4, I'm like, oh yeah, Selena Gomez. Alright, here's an example. When they find Fozzie for the first time, he's with the Muppets, or like a knockoff Muppets. And then Dave Grohl is there as Animal. I didn't know who Dave Grohl was. This is before I knew that people in bands were like important, rather than just the band name itself. Whereas like each artist in the band is kind of important. Like Dave Grohl. So I thought it was just a man dressed up as Animal. I'm like, oh, weird. But then when I was like 15, I actually knew who Dave Grohl was. And I was like, oh, that's Dave Grohl. I thought that was just a man. See, the beauty of growing up. Again, there's like jokes in here that I don't understand when I'm like 4, but I appreciate when I'm older. Such as they go to Fozzie's room. Kermit and Fozzie have a little talk, and it's actually an alleyway outside. It's literally a doorway that goes to an alley. And then Fozzie has like furniture out there and stuff. And then it was like, they're talking, and then there's gunshots heard. Fozzie is unfazed by this, and Kermit's like, what the heck is that? And then Fozzie's just like, not fazed by it at all, because that's normal. And I find it really funny, because cops even come out and like, put your hands in the air. And you hear that, you could hear that if you listen closely. But I think it's hilarious. So then they convince Fozzie to join them. So then, got one of them. One down and 17 million to go. So then they find Gonzo next, who has like a toiletry empire. The toilets, plungers, everything. One of the lines he says is something about a waterless toilet department. Waterless? It's a waterless. How do you get rid of it? Do you guys have an idea? My idea is like super suction, like a big force of air sucks everything away. You know what I mean? Which is a bad idea, which is why I'm assuming it's not really working for him. So then, Gonzo refuses at first, and then Camilla, his chicken, is like, baka, and there's, subtitles for what she's saying, so we know what she's saying. And then Gonzo's like, you're right. And then tears open his suit, he's got the stuntman suit, and jumps off the building. I don't know where he's planning on landing, because Camilla throws him off, and he hits the sign, and falls into, like, the crate of, like, those packing peanuts, styrofoam, whatever. So I don't know what his goal was. Did he plan on, like, landing on his feet? Would have been funny if that actually happened, but I prefer what they went with. So then he blows up his building. And he had a button for it, too. Like, he was prepared for that situation. He blows up his building. His empire. Weird. Well, that's Gonzo for you. So next they get Animal, my favorite one. Who we see is taking an anger management class by Court. And I want to know what he did. What did he do? Because he got a court-appointed sponsor, who's Jack Black, who's also in this anger management class. So then they managed to free Animal because they started a fight in the anger management class. But the only thing is, drumming is Animal's like trigger word. So like someone says drum or drumming, drummer, any variation, he goes off. He goes ballistic. wonder what that was about. But and it leads to one of the best moments in the movie, let me just say. So then there's a montage of them rounding up the gang, right? They get the Electric Man, the guy who blows up stuff, Sam the Eagle, Bunsen Honeydew, and Beaker, Scooter. And I want to know, like, in your opinion, who was the most successful after the Muppets? Now, obviously, it's Piggy, as we're going to see beforehand. But I think, besides her, it's Scooter, because he works at Google. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below who you think is the most successful outside of the Muppets, or after the Muppets. Alright, but then they're like, Kermit's like, okay, we got everybody. They don't. They're forgetting Piggy. And then people are like, wait, where's Miss Piggy? And he's like, who? Oh, yeah. So then they go to Paris. They drive to Paris. Traveling by map. Which was a clever way for them to do it. Because, you know, it's the Muppets. That's what they do. So the car emerges from underwater. On, like, the shore of Europe. So then they go to Paris. They get Piggy. And then they find, like, where she works, right? Go to her reception. They're like, hey, we need an appointment. And then Emily Blunt, her receptionist, is like, oh yeah, there's an opening in September. I think this is like March or something, based on their, you know, spring break. Walter says it's 6 months away, which I think March is 6 months away from September. Yeah. This is my favorite joke in the whole movie. Walter goes, September? That's like 6 months from now. Walter turns to him and goes, that was nothing. Once I had to wait a whole year for September. That's the funniest joke to me in this whole movie. You cannot convince me otherwise, but that's my favorite joke in the whole movie. Whole year for September. I bursted out laughing when I watched it for this. That's my favorite joke. So then they do a bit called Muppet Man, where they all stack up on top of each other and put on oversized clothes, and they're Muppet Man. And they manage to get into Piggy's office. And then Piggy, like, bangs her head on the table because she fell for it. And she's eating donuts beforehand. These look so good. Delicioso. Man, I want a donut right now. Ever since I saw it, I want a donut right now. I'm going to get donuts after this. Just because I'm hungry for donuts. Now, Piggy in this movie kind of reminds me of Jennifer Aniston's character in Holiday Christmas Party, I think it's called, with like Jason Bateman, Jennifer Aniston, and TJ Miller. Yeah. Anyway, Piggy really reminds me of her character. You know, like mannerisms, clothing. I do like how Piggy, anytime we see her, her hair is different, her clothes are different. Any different scene, she has different hair and different clothes. Even throughout the day, where it's like 10 minutes later, literally, in this, you'll see her in one outfit, and then 10 minutes later, she changes both the outfit and her hair. Just because. But that's Piggy for you. I like it. Alright. Then, once they get Piggy, like, okay, so actually, I have to backtrack a bit. So they try to get Piggy, right? She says no because Kermit has commitment issues. So then Piggy walks away. It's like, I cannot be replaced. So then they get the pig from the Muppets. I forgot his name. What is his name? Miss Poogie. Poogie. Poogy. Anyway, they get her, I think. So they use Miss Poogie as a replacement. So then they go to the studios and like, hey, we need this telephone to raise $10 million. Can we do that? And a bunch of studios say no. And one was in Spanish, I think it was Univision. He said, lo siento, pero no. And I actually understood what he meant. He said, I'm sorry, but no. And I never knew that. Because I didn't know Spanish. But then I took Spanish for 3 years, you know. I'm a senior in high school, but previous 3 years I took Spanish. But I actually knew what he said. That's growth. That's growth. Spanish. Lo siento, pero no. I love Spanish. So then they go to Rashida Jones, but I forgot which studio. I don't even know. I'm not even going to search it. I forgot which studio she represents. It's not Fox. I remember that one. Not NBC. And it wasn't Univision. I remember those three. Hopefully I got that right. Anyway, she was like, you guys aren't relevant anymore. Look at what's relevant. And it's like this punch teacher thing. And I like the bit because the host is like, punch teacher. And there's two students as the contestants. And they like punch the teacher. And then it pans away from them. And you could hear the teacher on the TV saying, I thought I could make a difference. I love that joke. It's hilarious. Anyway, Rashida Jones is like, this is what's relevant. Then Donald Glover comes in. And he's like, hey, the show got canceled. So we have this conveniently placed time slot. What are we supposed to do with it? Then Rashida Jones goes, well, there's these guys and the Muppets. So they got their show. They got their telephone. How convenient, you know what I mean? But yeah, they got their telephone. So then Tex Richmond finds out about it and is like, well, what are they gonna do? They're the Muppets. You know, no one likes them anymore. But then, I forgot to mention these two earlier, but these two are like two of the three of my favorite characters. One is Animal. 2 and 3 are these two. One's name is Deadly, and the other's the bear. I forgot the bear's name though. Bear's name, Muppet. Oh, shoot. It's just totally Fozzie. Dang it. Big Bear? Bobo? Is that his name? Yeah, Bobo. What? Yeah, Bobo. Okay. Yeah, that's the name. Bobo. These two are 2 of 3, right? There's a point, I forgot what they're doing, but he has some sort of like spray thing, Bobo, and like gets Deadly in the eye, and Deadly goes, ah, and then Bobo's like, oh, did I get you? And then Deadly's like, yes. Oh, love those two, they're awesome. Also, Tex Richmond has this like maniacal laugh bit. I don't like it. I don't get it. It's not funny. Personally. Chris Cooper did a good job though. I do like his character. He's pretty funny. But I didn't like the maniacal laugh bit. He would go, maniacal laugh, like, just laugh. He would say it. But the other two wouldn't laugh. Yeah. Muppets find the studio, right? And then it's closed off and it's all dirty and gross. And they're like, man, this place sucks. And then Walter's like, you guys are the Muppets, you know, you do it to music. So then they clean up to music. And then we find this character named Beauregard, who was in like a broom closet or something, like dusting. He's been there the whole time. Why is it still messy then? He's been there for however many years it's been. I don't know how many years, they don't establish that. But he's been there for years, and it's still messy. What were you doing? You know? Yeah. I do find it funny how they found someone there after so many years, just cleaning and dusting. Alright. And then Kermit's trying to find a host, but he can't. I remember Molly Ringwald popped up, and then President Carter was another one, which that joke didn't age well. But then they clean it up, and they're like, oh my god, look at this place. It's like we never left, because they cleaned it in a day. Which is a pretty cool task. Or accomplishment, I bet. So then the next day, Mary spends her day by herself. And this is the day of their anniversary, by the way. She's by herself. And all she wants is their anniversary dinner. That's all she asks, right? She's by herself for the whole day, while Gary's helping with the Muppets. But then Mary sings a song called Me Party. This song's alright, in my opinion. I do like the ending, though, where she's like riffing at the end and she's like posing. And then the waitress is like, excuse me, And then Mary's like, what? I like it. It's funny. Okay. So then the executive lady, Rashida Jones, pops by and is like, your show sucks. And where's your celebrity host? And Kermit's like, I could host, I'm a celebrity. And she's like, no, gross. I'll rerun Benson if I have to. What's Benson? I was told it was an 80s show, but I want to know what it's about. Benson is an American television sitcom that originally aired on ABC from September 13th, 1979 to April 19th, 1986. Maybe that was the studio they went to, ABC. Benson. It does look not memorable. Whatever the show is. Oh man, my Chromebook's dying, so I gotta charge it soon. Now, Kermit is like, well, what am I supposed to do? Just ask for the studio back? He does. He asks for it back. And Chris Cooper's like, no. And he raps about it. I forget what the rap is called. Chris Cooper Muppet rap. Let's talk about me. So he raps about how much money he has and stuff. Now this is my favorite Deadly moment. He's the like little dragon British henchman guy. When he's singing, I forgot what the response was for, but Deadly just shouts correct in his British accent, like, correct. I don't know if that's British, but it was pretty funny because like they're just singing. And the other two are dancing as they're shown, and they're like dancing, and then he just shouts correct. It's the little things. I'll be back. I can get my charger. I'm back. Got my charger. Alright. So then, the other Muppets, Kermit gives up, right? He's like, ugh, this show. I mean, we're not gonna make it. You don't have a celebrity host. You guys suck at your acting. We're toast. And he gives up. Piggy, though, is like, alright, guys. Well, she waits for him to leave. And she's like, alright, guys. Here's what we're gonna do. And then they kidnap Jack Black. In a very Kill Bill-ish style. But they kidnap Jack Black. They kidnap him. I do like his line where Animal knocks on his door. And then he's putting on one of those, like, ball suits. Where it's like a blue suit. And they put balls on them as like points for 3D animators to like go off of, I think. I don't know how it works. I gotta research that. But he's doing that. I don't know what. I think it's for a fake movie, obviously. But I would like to know if it's, you know, for a certain project, you know, it's like a joke. But then he opens the door. He's, you know, mad, obviously, because he's in that anger management class. So Animal knocks on the door. And then Jack Black goes, man, I told you I'm not done putting my balls! Balls. Funny. So then, they kidnap him. And they wear like ninja suits as well. So then they kidnap him, bring him to Kermit. Okay, this is where Piggy is like in a ninja suit. Then she has time to curl her hair. Like, the outfit change I get, because like, you go from ninja suit to regular suit. I get that. She curled her hair too. So then they're like, we kidnapped Jack Black, look. And then Kermit's like, you guys are felons. You get that now, right? And they're like, we don't care. We got a telethon to go to. And then Kermit's like, man, you're right. Let's go. So then they proceed with the kidnapping and go to the telethon. Then Gary comes back to be with Mary for the day because he forgot. And then Mary's like, what do you want to do for dinner? aka their anniversary dinner. Gary goes, I don't care, whatever you feel like. What? Anyway, Mary storms off secretly without him knowing. And Gary's like, what'd I do? What'd I do? And then he realizes it because Walter is like, hey, we came here because of the Muppets. And then Gary's like, no, we didn't. We came here so I can have my anniversary dinner. He's like, wait, what's today? And Walter's like, Friday. Stupid idiot. Gary's like, man, I gotta go. And then he surprises Mary at the hotel with like flowers and like, surprise, I know you're mad at me. Mary's gone. She went home. That leaves Gary and Walter to go and perform this Oscar-winning performance, by the way. Man or a Muppet, it won an Oscar for Best Original Song. As it should. You know what I mean? I like telling people that. Because I've known that for a while. And I didn't know that people were into the Muppets as much as me sometimes. So I would play the song on a piano one time at my high school. Like in the choir room, there's a piano. I'm not a choir, I just hang out there sometimes. There's a piano, and I searched up how to play a song, and I played a bit of it. You were like, is that a man or a Muppet? And I'm like, yes it is. And like, I love that song. I'm like, yeah, as you should, it's an Oscar-winning song. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. They're like, you what? I'm like, yeah, you didn't know that? It's always fun to tell people. Makes their day better. So then Walter's actually invited. Oh wait, I gotta talk about this song more. I mean, Jesus, I was about to glaze over that. Walter and Gary are singing about Man or Muppet. And they have to choose, which part of life they want. For Gary, it's his girlfriend or his brother. For Walter, it's his normal life, aka his brother, or the Muppets. And it's like, man or Muppet? Man, Muppet, man. It's a tough decision, you know what I mean? What would you choose? It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I guess that's what makes the song so great, It's relatable. Because we all want to be Muppets. But we're stuck being men or women. Man. I love that song. I think I looped it one day. That's how much I liked it. I'm gonna have to listen to it after this as well, while I'm eating my donuts. Maybe I should just watch it again. And then I could watch the second one after that. Man. Power of the Muppets, man. Awesome. But, Gary chooses being a man, Walter chooses a Muppet, because Walter realizes that's where he belongs. He's not going to have a normal life. He can't fit in. And Gary's like, I made this 10-year commitment. I should stick with it. Which is good, because, we all would have hated him if he chose a Muppet. But, split decision meant that they would have to go different ways and they wouldn't be as close anymore. Or weren't going to be as close anymore as brothers. Can you imagine that? You're brothers for 30 years. You live together, you sleep in the same room, right? And then you go on one vacation. And soon you'll never see each other again. And I say that because in the second one, Gary doesn't come back. Anyway, I'm jumping ahead here. I should probably reel it back. So after the song, Gary's like, I'm back. And then surprises Mary back home in the rain, because, romantic. So he chose Mary. And then Walter's like, man, I gotta give up my brother. Excuse me. So he saves the Muppets for their telethon. And he's even invited to perform an act. And he can't find a talent. It is foreshadowed throughout the film what his talent is, which is whistling. I can't whistle. So then he hasn't figured it out yet though. It is foreshadowed when you watch it again. You'll see him whistling a bunch of stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. So then the telethon starts. I'm not kidding you. About a third, maybe even more of this movie is the telethon. That's crazy. That was a lot. Like, that's a lot when you think about it. Like, this grand finale, this grand attempt to save their thing is a third of the movie. I'm not bragging. I'm not complaining. I like it. Give me more of it. But yeah, that was crazy to find out. Like, I paused it when I had to watch it because I had to I had to eat. And then the telethon was starting. And it was like a smidge past the halfway mark. And I was like, what? You can watch this on Disney Plus, by the way. I highly recommend it. Ooh, do you know what else I want to watch? The TV show. It was like a season long. But I remember I watched the first and second episode when they actually aired. And then I didn't for some reason because I was like 4. But I want to watch that because I've seen like the clips of it on my TikTok and Instagram. Specifically one of Pepe and Rizzo complaining about Hawaiian themed burgers. And Gonzo's like, guys, it's Hawaiian just means there's a pineapple in it. You just take it off. And then Rizzo's like, yeah, but you can't get rid of the juice. And then Gonzo makes the argument, you're a rat. I've seen you eat garbage. And then Rizzo's like, but not with the pineapple on it. It's so funny. God, I gotta watch that show. I gotta watch that show, watch the second one, eat donuts, and listen to Man or Muppet. It's quite a checklist. Bucket list. My bad. So telethon starts without an audience besides this guy named Hobo Joe, which is played by Zach Galifianakis. Hopefully you guys know who that is. And here's the crazy part. The cameramen who are like televising the telethon, they show the empty audience. That's gotta hurt. Can you imagine being an audience member and you're watching like your heroes, the Muppets, and they show the audience and you're like, ooh, oh man, that's tough. Can you imagine that? That's just rough. Alright. Now I mentioned before that I was introduced to many like celebrities through this movie without even knowing about it. Like Whoopi Goldberg, because I saw her in, what was it, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? The Michael Bay one. And I'm like, she's from the Muppets. Because I was like 7 when the Turtles came out. Rico Rodriguez, I saw him in Modern Family a few years later. I'm like, Muppets. I said Selena Gomez already, but like, it's my sister. I didn't know who John Krasinski was until I watched The Office. And then I saw him in the Muppets. I'm like, oh my, he's there. Neil Patrick Harris, I saw him there. Then I saw him in the Smurfs. I'm like, the guy from the Smurfs is from Muppets. Mickey Rooney, I saw him in Night at the Museum. I'm like, Muppets. Jack Black. Now I saw Kung Fu Panda before, but I didn't know who Jack Black was. Oh no, I did actually. I saw School of Rock. I saw that before the Muppets. So I was able to point him out. And I knew who that was. I remember that when I was like 4 or something. I was like, School of Rock. But again, a lot of celebrities from the Muppets. There's a lot. I knew them from the Muppets primarily. Some I didn't even know. Like John Krasinski. There are other ones. Emily Blunt. I remember I saw her in Into the Woods. I'm like, she looks kind of familiar. And I saw like Muppets. I was like, oh, that's why, because she was like in red hair in the Muppets and like heavy makeup compared to her Into the Woods role. But yeah, I just remember that. Dave Grohl, I mentioned that one earlier. I didn't know who Dave Grohl was until I was like 15. All right. There are different performances throughout the telethon, like head bowling, which is where they put a pin on Jack Black on top of his head, and they restricted him with rope to a chair throughout this whole telethon because they kidnapped him. Oh, Jack Black was their celebrity host, by the way. I'm just bouncing all over the place. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Jack Black is in a chair with a rope around him. In a chair. Yeah. And then they put a pin on his head. And Gonzo performs a stunt called head bowling, where he has a bowling ball in his hand, like spins. He plans on spinning it around a few times, like with his arm like this, you know. And then the bowling ball is stuck to his fingers, and his arm is just rotating. And it's rotating for the rest of the film. So then they scrap that act, and then they go to another one's like a barbershop quartet, but they're singing "Smells Like Teen Spirit" by Nirvana. Dave Grohl. What would you call that? It's like a spoof. It smells like. Smells like a haircut. No. Smells like some. Yeah, let's move away from that. They have, what was one? Camilla, the chicken. She and a bunch of other chickens perform Forget You by CeeLo Green, I think it is. What else was there? Fozzie says a bunch of jokes as per usual, and she kind of bounces off Jack Black because like he's crapping on them. She actually gets them some laughs. All this, and they're actually getting money from, you know, audiences at home, and they have like you know where Waldorf and Statler are, like they're in the thing up above. Like the other side is where like a bunch of Muppets on telephones are, and other celebrities. They're like answering phones and taking money. So yeah. Hang on. So Tex cuts the power at some point. He like takes an axe and hits some stuff, and it shuts down for a bit. And that was just the power in the theater. It didn't cut the cameras or anything. But then Gary and Mary pop up because they traveled by map. That's just lazy writing, but I do like how they use their cleverness of Muppets to, you know what I mean? They get the power back on. Then Kermit goes and apologizes to Piggy because he realizes how he's wrong. And then, before he does that, he tells Scooter, "Hey, can you host for me? Because I gotta do a thing." And Scooter's like, "I've never hosted before. What do I do?" And then Kermit's like, "Oh, you just picture them naked." And Scooter's like, "Oh, I get it now. Okay, I will." So then Kermit pulls out like half a torn picture of Piggy on their wedding day, I think. And then Piggy pops in and sees that he has the picture. He's like, "Oh my god, you have them." Me too. And they connect it, obviously. And they're like, "Oh my god," we see that like they're in love, and they haven't forgot about each other, obviously. And they're like, they still love each other and all that. And then they perform Rainbow Connection. This song makes me cry. Not every single time, almost every single time. Tear up, I should say. Every single time. Not for a reason you think. Unexpected reason, actually. It's not when they're singing like in love. It's freaking because of Animal, and he comes back. You know? Because like he hasn't drummed for this entire thing. And then Kermit's up there singing and doing the banjo. And then we see Animal, he's like, he's got the two drumsticks, and he's like fighting with his devil and angel on his shoulders. And then he finally goes up there and he just, you know, and then he like screams and stuff. Oh, it's glorious. It's probably my favorite part. That's my favorite part of the movie, when Animal's back. You know, it has that effect. He's my favorite one. Oh, such a good moment. So yeah, if you ever watch that movie with me, then you'll know that I'm tearing up at that certain part. They're almost at their goal, but they have like 5 minutes left of the show, and they don't have an act, and they're not at their, you know, financial goal yet. So they're like, "Come on, guys, come on, think. We need ideas. And then, just with 5 minutes left, Walter comes up and is like, boom, I'm here. And then he whistles. And he like whistles a song. I forgot what song it is. It's an actual song though. What song does Walter whistle in the Muppets? Oh, it's an original song. Huh. It's called The Whistling Caruso. I think it is. Yeah, an original song. Wow. They made another original song. Well, they made a bunch of original songs. That's crazy, though. They have a bunch of original songs, and Man or a Muppet got the Oscar. That's should have. Look at me, going back to Man or a Muppet. Anyway. Gary whistles. He's like, oh, you need an axe? I got you. And then he almost gets them to their goal, but then, oh my god. I went past something. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I gotta backtrack a bit. Tex Richmond. I imagine he cuts the axe with, stuff. And then he's like, dang it, they got the power back on. Let's go to the cell tower thing. Whatever. I don't know. They don't say anything, so I don't know what it is. And then he's like, come on, Deadly, let's go. Deadly's the dragon-looking one. And then he goes up there with them. Deadly turns, is like, I'm actually a Muppet. Well, I actually would say that. Remember, I'm actually I'm not going to try. But he says he's actually a Muppet. And then he's like pulling the axe away from him. And then, what I say? I wrote this down, I think. Whatever. So then Deadly knocks him off the roof. And is like, I'm a Muppet. And then we all cheer for him because he's the best. He's one of the best ones. Yeah. So then, after Walter's whistling, jumping back to the present, Tex knocks down a telephone line. So he knocks down the telephones, can't accept any more money because, no one can call them. And they reach $9,999,999. So $1 short. Couldn't ask someone in the audience, like, hey, does anyone have $1? Anyone? You poor, whatever. So then, Fozzie, does something weird. I don't get this joke, apparently, but Fozzie hits, his head on the thing in frustration. And then it, buzzes out. And then it changes to $9,000, $999 in... Sorry, I gotta start over. He hits it, and it buzzes to $9,999 and 99 cents. Now, I thought, it just... Oh, he just broke it? But I think the joke is that that's how much money they actually raised. $10,000 and not $10 million. I think that's a joke, but that's a joke I just never got or understood. Could someone explain it to me, please? Because I don't get it. But anyway, after that, Tex Richmond kicks them out and was like, you guys are in my theater. Get out. So then they leave. Walk of shame. And then Kermit gives them an inspirational speech and is like, we're family. Sorry, Tom Toretto's speech. Family. So then they leave the theater and they find all their fans out there waiting for them. And then Walter's like, I freaking told you guys were popular this whole time. Your fans just didn't. Oh, man. So then they all celebrate and they're like, oh my gosh, we're popular again. And then Walter is officiated into the Muppets because they carry him on his shoulders. And then Walter looks down at Kermit and is like, thanks, boss. And Kermit's like, nice work, kid. And that's close to how the movie ends. Movie ends with a number of Life's a Happy Song, a reprise, however you say it. They sing again. Gary finally proposes to Mary out of, impulse. And then Mary is like, Mana. And then that's how the movie ends, with the Mana song. And then we find that, I'm assuming she said yes. Walter joins the Muppets. Kermit and Piggy are back together, but they want a more private... Well, Kermit wants a more private life, and Piggy's like, fine. And then invites 10 reporters to their house. Man, it's such a good movie. I like the humor. the references, the celebrities, obviously, the music. Oh, man. Pink's hot dogs. God, I need a hot dog. Oh my God, this movie's making me so hungry. Not thirsty though. Who's your favorite Muppet? Mine is obviously. But I want to know who yours are. Because typically people's favorites are Animal, Kermit, Gonzo, usually the bigger ones. Also, what's your opinion on Walter? I like him. Because he represents us. You know what I mean? My dad doesn't like him though. Because he told me that while we were watching. He's like, he didn't like Walter. If I remember correctly. But each to their own opinion. But I want to know who your favorite character or Muppet is. Can't have mine though. I got tips on Animal. So who's your favorite? Also, what was it? What's your favorite Muppet movie? My favorite is... Now this is a tough one. Because I like this one. Another one I like is Muppets in Space. Muppet Christmas Carol. I do like the original Muppet movie, but I tend to get kind of bored at a certain part. Which is, I think, the science lab with Mel Brooks. Like that part, I get bored, along with the restaurant as well with Steve Martin. I get bored from there until the Western scene. Or more, maybe the fire pit scene. I don't know why I'm talking about that one. I should be talking about this one. I don't get bored at this one at all. So maybe this one's my favorite. I don't know. I have so many favorites. But those four. I like those four the best. What's your favorite, though? Who's your favorite Muppet? Oh, that is a good one. Yeah, I do like that one. Me acting like I actually heard you. Who's my favorite celebrity? At least appearance in this one. I think my favorite celebrity appearance was probably just Jack Black. Probably just because he was in it the most. Also, probably because he wasn't like himself at all in the movie. At least I don't think he's like that in real life. I hope he's not like that in real life. I don't have anything else to say. I don't plan on calling anyone because, I was alive when this movie came out, so my word is best. That's not, I'm just saying that. But that's why I'm not calling anybody. This one's a little different. Also because, co-host left freaking college. Why'd you have to get successful education? Trying to think more stuff to say because I want to keep talking, but what was your favorite song? Mine was Man and Muppet, obviously. Do people even like the other songs? Rainbow Connection, obviously, that's another one. But usually when people think oh, what's your favorite song from the Muppet movie? People are like, Man or Muppet. And then people who grew up with other ones are like, okay, maybe Rainbow Connection, but for people my age, it's usually Man or Muppet. That's all I really have for you guys today. This one was a little different, mainly because I just wanted to talk about it because I like this one so much. I'm a huge fan of Muppets. But I wanted to do something similar to my other videos, but I don't twist on them where I'm kind of just rambling on about them because I know people like to hear people ramble on sometimes. But I know I do. So I thought, maybe I'll contribute to that. Hopefully I can do more videos like this. And maybe this one's successful. If it's not, then I'll go back to my old formula. But I do just talking, A lot of people like just talking. I like just talking. Talking is fun. Talk. But, I'm just gonna cut it off here. I'm running out of stuff to say. But, I do hope you subscribe. Follow me on Facebook. Well, I'm not on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. Make sure you turn on the bell notifications. So, excuse me. Turn on the bell notifications so you get notified whenever I post a new video. Hopefully my sister / co-host comes back to do a video soon. Stupid college. But yeah, I'm gonna let y'all go. Have an amazing day. Go watch the Muppets now. Because you need to now. I mean, you have to. After watching this, you have to watch it just because you're obligated to. You saw a review, might as well see it. You know what I mean? Because I know you got the free time. You got the free time to watch this. You got the free time to watch a movie. You know what I mean? Go. I'll see y'all later. Have a good day.